this time, I'd like to call to order the meeting of Monday, June 13th, 2022, and I'll ask Commissioner Morris to do the invocation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Please pray with me. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the privilege to meet here and conduct the county's business. We ask for your strength, guidance, and wisdom as we do so. We would ask you especially bless the folks who are suffering with high inflation and the many other government malfunctions that seem to be going on these days because they suffer the worst. Please lead, guide, and direct us as we go forward. These things we ask in your most gracious name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. I'm going to ask for the approval of the agenda. I have one item to add under discussion, and it is the agreement between Wake Forest Baptist Health and Stokes County Health Department for the medical director services. I'll add that as item E. Did you get that, Commissioner Mendenhall and Commissioner Nicholson? Mr. Mendenhall, did you get that?
I did not.
Okay, we're adding an item E, which is an agreement between the Health Department and Wake Forest Baptist Health about the medical director position, and we will talk about that more in discussion. Item E.
Thank you.
Are there any other changes to the agenda? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, and the second item is the public comments, and the first person signed to speak will have 4 minutes. And if you will come to the podium and state your name and address, please. And it's Teresa Brookshire.
Teresa Brookshire, 1165 Phillips Road, Sandy Ridge. And I only had the one question that I had directed to Commissioner Morris, and that was if he had any affiliation, ties, or anything with the Stokes Conservative Committee or the StokesFreedom.com website, and just as a matter of transparency and integrity, if he would answer that question.
And I will do that. I have a practice of answering questions on my blog so that all the public can read them. I took that question from your meeting of public hearing and prepared an answer, and that's posted on my blog at rickmorriscommissioner.com.
I appreciate that, and I certainly respect that you do some things in that manner, but we are here at the meeting, and it would be just as simple to answer the question at the meeting, and I think
I'll just refer you to the blog because it's a comprehensive answer that I can't remember it all, and I'd rather you just read what's on the blog.
Okay.
And give you an opportunity to get familiar with my blog as well.
Okay, well, I respect that, but I find it unacceptable.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, moving on. The next speaker is Ellen Perrick.
Good evening. Ellen Perrick, 1095 Wheeler Smith Road, Lawsonville. I am here to speak about the video use statement that Chair Sonia Cox has added to the agenda. I don't know why this has become an issue, maybe because someone's feelings were hurt. But it says the suggested statement is any reproduction or use of meeting videos in a manner which misrepresents the content is prohibited. There is so much wrong with this. Who determines misrepresentation? Is sharing only parts of the meeting a misrepresentation? How do you determine the source of the misrepresentation? Research the metadata? What are the penalties for doing this thing that is prohibited? Would each person who shared the content be penalized? So let's go at this another way. This is a public meeting. There is a video recording of this public meeting. A person may request a copy of any record of a public meeting. If it wasn't on YouTube already, a person's intended use of the records is irrelevant to the access, and the record's custodian may not deny access simply because of the intended use. General Statute 132-6 prohibits custodians from requiring that persons requesting access to or a copy of a record disclose their purpose or motives in seeking access or the copy. This is taken from the Public Records Overview from the UNC School of Government, Freda S. Bluestein. I think a quick check with council would have put this issue to bed quickly, and the county would not have wasted more time on decrees on how we, the public, must behave. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next person signed up to speak is Larry Barker.
Thank you, Commissioners. I appreciate this 3 minutes or 4 minutes, or whatever it was. I come to speak on I have a few things here, but the main thing is on the video use statement. I had someone message me on Friday or Saturday about this statement. It says, Sonia Cox requested this item be placed on the agenda to discuss the misuse of video recordings from official meetings of the governing body. A statement will be considered regarding any reproduction of use of the meeting videos in a manner which represents the content is prohibited. Once that was sent to me this weekend, I couldn't help but think and go back to 15 months ago when we dealt with this freedom of speech issue. So I think about it, I go to the videos, and the only place that I know videos were posted was that stokesfreedom.com. So I went there today, and I listed all 7 topics that was mentioned: free speech, open carry in the chamber here, taxes, hospital, internet, solar landfill, and crony hiring. I also shared this statement with someone within our 5th Congressional District, and that representative from our district, and not the Representative Fox, but it was a representative from our district, and she said, "Are we in communist China?" when she read this. So I wonder if we think we're Liz Cheney on a January 6th committee. Do we think we're Jack Dorsey with Twitter, or Mark Zuckerberg with Facebook? As been said, this is a public record. Your actions, your appearance is on display. And I was hoping two that are missing was here today. For example, well, before I go to that, I had another representative say to me today, if they would just do right and stop the dirty closed session, the lack of transparency and the lack of credibility, there wouldn't be a problem. It's public record. As we said, your appearances, your actions are on display. For example, the other day, the laugh, the chuckle, when the school board, I guess the budget was presented. Many of us can't attend these meetings sometimes, but I watch a lot of them in video while I'm doing other things, other meetings, other things that are going on. I'm not able to make it to Danbury all the time. So I see stuff sitting back in the chair. I see stuff, we won't even mention all the things. But sit up in a chair, save your spit tune for later, and I hope tomorrow in joint session with the school board, they conduct themselves professional. I really do. I really do. As I talk about being professional, you're representing 45,831 people from what I understand in this county. That represents $61 million as last year's budget, I believe. That's a big weight on your all's shoulders, the 5 of you. Big weight. 45,000. Ty Browder, our attorney, he's not the one that hired you. Not the GOP, although many of the GOP do vote. It's not the school of government, and that's some of the things we heard last year when we talked about freedom of speech, as it was silenced. So lastly, I can't help but go back to what we actually, as our county manager, what we actually require of our employees as far as ethics in government. What kind of training we actually have. Personally, I take it in the function that I work in, and also understanding the Constitution from a conservative perspective. I would love to see what we actually put in front of our employees and make them do each year, or if it's each 4 years. I'd love to see that. Thank you.
All right. That concludes the public comment section, and I will move on to the comments from the commissioners and manager, starting with Commissioner Morris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd just like to welcome everybody. Have a pretty good crowd here tonight, and hopefully a large crowd online watching us. And we appreciate your participation and assistance as we try to do our best to conduct this county government. Thank you.
All right. Andy Nicholson, Commissioner Nicholson, can you hear me? Do you want to go next? Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I can't see everybody there. I got a couple of weeks this afternoon. I go to my distance, just like to make sure that anybody else just in case I got something to tell you. Appreciate you guys joining in and going back to one of the comments that they made there. I wish I could have been there. Been glad to talk to you. I think there's a lot to see, especially in this past election. A lot of lies. Our job to be sure we try to get that out there and being transparent. And as far as the closed sessions that have been said many times, that's what our attorney talks to us about. If he sees some of these closed sessions, he advises us of doing that. I'm not a big person in favor of doing much stuff in closed sessions, but unfortunately some things have to be. And everybody needs to take a look at the public comments. As you see tonight, we had some speech. There was no free speech taken away. Happening there where you can't or see hand gestures. And I asked somebody to ask a question about the departments that should be kind of related. Go define the word should. The commandments, God says thou shalt not. You cannot. If it said should not, kind of gives a little leeway there. The whole thing is suggestion in there. It should be kind of related because that's when we can handle kind of related stuff. We do get approached about some state stuff every now and then. All that we do is contact different people, state reps, or other times, like on roads or DOT. That's not something the county commissioners handle and stuff like it's not even my budget. Do appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Hope that's clarified.
All right. Commissioner Mendenhall, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Commissioner Cox, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead with your comments.
Okay. Well, I have several comments, so I just want to make sure that everybody in the room was able to hear me.
Yeah,
My voice carrying okay?
Yeah, I think they can hear you. Okay.
Okay, thank you. As always, I'll begin by just saying thank you for coming out. Everyone's opinion in this county is important to me. I think Larry said 45,000. I think we actually have about between 46 and 47,000 citizens in this county, and every one of them's value is just as important as the other person. But what I'd like to say tonight, first of all, thank you for everybody coming out, everybody that's in the room, everybody that's watching on YouTube. I appreciate that. I did want to take about 2 or 3 minutes, Commissioner Cox. I know that's longer than usual. But I did want to explain to people why I've not been able to be at the meetings in person. I've gotten so many calls asking about me, and I wanted to be able to give a chance to put it on YouTube so everybody that's watching can hear. On May the 10th, I had total knee replacement replacement surgery on my left knee. And I had a 2-week checkup later on. And unfortunately, and I've not told the probably over my immediate family and maybe 6 or 7 other people this, I had some serious complications. And on my 2-week checkup, I went to get a follow-up, and I passed out in the follow-up session. Was placed in the hospital, and I know not some people don't know this, a lot of people do. However, I was in the hospital for 5 days, 5 days and 4 nights, and had to have quite a bit of work done on me, and everything from a blood transfusion to becoming a cardiac care situation. And I know everybody in the county doesn't know, but most of the people that's been here all their lives know that I've already had 2 massive heart attacks. And lo and behold, during the surgery, it come to find out that I attained further heart damage during the surgery. And so right now, I'm currently wearing a heart monitor for 30 days, and I may have to have another procedure on my heart. Don't know yet. I'm hoping I won't. However, I know I'm to the point where I need, if that is what is needed, I need to go ahead and get it done. So I have not been at the meetings. I've been trying to follow everything going on. And I appreciate everybody's prayers, because let me tell you something. Sometimes there are disagreements among people in Stokes County, but I spent 2 nights at Atrium in Davie County, and then I was transferred to Forsyth in Winston for my cardiac care. I put on 6th floor cardiac care unit. And I will say this, the first 2 nurses I had at Forsyth were both from Stokes County. One went to North Stokes, one went to South Stokes. And the situation has arisen now to where I have good days and bad days, and I don't want anybody in the audience to think that I am neglecting this position. However, every day isn't a good day, and I really won't know until June 27th when I go back to the cardiologist as to where I'll stand. But I will say this, my wife, once the word got out, and we kept every text and every call, and we received over 500 calls and texts in the 5 days we were in the hospital. And to every single person that called and texted my wife to find out how I was doing, I just want to say thank you. It means more to me than you'll ever know. And I just showed me that people from all parts of the county called, texted, or emailed. And we'll see how things go. I do want to make one last comment on the Forsyth Tech trustee issue. I've been on the Forsyth Tech Board of Trustees. I'll begin year number 5 on July 1st. And they've been trying to replace Will Carter. Will Carter was on the Board of Trustees, and he declined to continue to serve. And so we had to try to come up with a new person. Well, I'm just going to be upfront with everybody in the audience. The few times that they've contacted me, I'll just be honest with everyone. I was not able to really communicate well with them because of my health issues. I mean, I was fighting to get back survive, to be honest with you, because I really did not know if I was going to make it through the 5 days out there without. But God was with me. The good Lord took his hand and put on me. And so the situation with the Forsyth Tech trustee that is being discussed tonight, I want everybody to know that the times that Paula Dibley called me and asked me about that, I basically was unable to function as far as communicating with her on what, if any. She asked me if I had names. I tossed out one name. That person, they found a statute where that person could not serve. And then they called again, and I finally just had to pass that buck on and tell Miss Dibley, please contact Shannon Shaver, our county manager, and then let her contact Sonia Cox, our county chair, and y'all handle it from there. So in the letter of recommendation, it says I supported that. I'm staying neutral in this situation. And the reason being, as I said, this is year number 5 for me. I know how the Forsyth Tech trustees operate, and I do not want to in any way, I don't know how many, if it's one person they've recommended at Forsyth Tech, I don't know if it's 1, if it's 5, I don't know if any of the county commissioners on the board are going to make additional recommendations, certainly up to them, but I am going to say this. I am going to stay completely neutral on this situation. And in fact, I'm tying this together, Ty, to tell you that due to all the sensitive natures of a community college such as finance, I was chairman of the policy committee for a year, personnel committee, and all of these committees that are very sensitive issues, and the person they have sent forth. I'm staying neutral on this tie, so I want you to know up front, due to I don't want anybody to say Mr. Mendenhall was biased in any way for any one person. So Ty, I'm tying this together now to say that I'm recusing myself on this situation due to the ins and outs that I'm very familiar with here, and I don't want one person in Stokes County Ty to say that Mr. Mendenhall suggested such and such or put such and such. So Ty, I'm telling you up front, I'm recusing myself on the Forsyth Tech situation. And to everybody that's in the room and everybody across the county, thank you one more time for all the calls, all the texts. It just reminds me of what a great county Stokes County really is. May not agree on everything, but it's the only place I'd ever want to live. So, Commissioner Cox, I hope I didn't take up too much of your time, but I felt like I needed to get all that out.
No problem. All right, we're moving on. Vice Chair Barney Castle.
Well, it's great to see everybody this afternoon. Appreciate you coming out. I'm not going to talk quite that long. It's great to see 2 of our former commissioners here today. I'd like to just tell them we'll be safe this week. We're looking at some record high temperatures here in the month of June. And medical standpoint, I'd like to ask everybody to be safe outside. We don't want to be running calls on none of our citizens. Again, thank y'all for being here, and thank the ones for watching live stream.
Yep, and I'd like to thank everybody for being here in person and for the ones watching at home. And we won't take up any more time so we can get to the county's business, but I'll turn it over to Shannon Shaver.
Thanks everybody for being here. Thanks for being patient for a few minutes trying to get the live stream and go in between the meetings. So we started just a couple of minutes late. Just quickly, I just want to identify one thing that we received this week, that we received a grant from Golden Leaf that was applied for by Economic Development with Will Carter and Tori May working on that grant. It's a grant for site identification. It allocates some funds to from a firm contracted by Golden Leaf, helps to identify potential industrial sites in the community, and we were awarded that grant along with more in Wilkes County. We're not amount that they're dividing between some counties. So that is one thing that we've got, and I'll update you on that as we go through that process with them. And just looking forward to our meeting tomorrow with the school board to discuss budget, and hope we can have a productive meeting and work on some solutions together on moving forward with that budget. So,
Thank you. We'll move on.
Shannon,
yes.
do you mind moving the mic just a little bit
Yeah.
more toward the commissioners? I'm having a hard time hearing
Oh.
the commissioners.
We can just, now that we're kind of finished with some of the other comments, we can just put the phone back up on where they're at, so maybe they can hear you a little better, or you can hear them.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Now I'll read the conflicts of interest statement. Before moving any further, does any board member have a conflict of interest with any of the items on the agenda for tonight, or one that could be perceived as a conflict of interest?
I do.
No.
Okay. Mr. Minhall, you've already stated yours, and you'll be recusing yourself on the discussion of the Board of Trustees appointment. All right?
Yeah.
Is there any
That's
others?
That's correct.
Okay. Commissioner Nicholson, do you have any? You still here? Okay. All right. All right, moving on. I have the consent agenda, which is the minutes, the tax office items for approval, the budget amendments, grant project ordinance for Stokes County SCIF grant, and the capital project ordinance. Any questions about any of those consent items? No. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
And the first item on the discussion agenda is the FTCC Board of Trustees appointment request, and I think she passed out that letter.
Yeah, I just received that letter today from Forsyth Tech about this appointment. And Mr. Mendenhall spoke a bit about it, but it is just an appointment for the Forsyth Tech Board of Trustees replacing member Will Carter, whose term ends June the 30th. And they have sent this letter in today, which is asking for the board to consider nominating Ann Watts to serve on the Board of Trustees. They've hit a few of Ann's points on here, as that she currently serves on the Stokes County Partnership for Children, has recently retired as the Director of Operations for Stokes County Center at Forsyth Tech Community College. Ms. Watts is passionate about making education readily available to all the county. During Ms. Watts' time with Forsyth Tech, she was instrumental in setting up the Stokes Early College, a joint program of the Stokes County Schools and Forsyth Technical Community College. It is a four-year high school that gives students the opportunity to complete the requirements for North Carolina high school diploma and at the same time earn a two-year college degree. She serves on the Forsyth Tech Foundation Board, serving on their executive committee. She has been honored by the King Chamber of Commerce as Business Leader of the Year in the annual Chamber Awards. And they feel she'd make a good fit to the Forsyth Tech Board of Trustees, and are just asking for your consideration in nominating her for that board to fill that vacancy that will come about at the end of this month. So if you would consider nominating her, and you do that this evening, we can move that to the next meeting for final approval. That would meet their timeline by July 1.
Okay. All right, do board members have any other questions or comments about Mrs. Watts' appointment for this board?
Madam Chair, I would just say that I dealt with her a lot as county manager for many years, and she was always very professional, very knowledgeable, and I don't think you could find anybody much better qualified for being on that board, so I would definitely support it.
I worked with her a lot when I was on the Board of Education as well. When we were starting the early college, she was instrumental in that process. Very knowledgeable, so I too have no problem with her.
I have no problem.
Do I need to do a motion tonight?
If somebody can just nominate
A nomination,
Ms. Watts,
that's what I meant.
if you're in favor of that, yeah.
Okay. You want to nominate her?
I'll nominate Ann Watts to serve on the Forsyth Tech Board of Trustees.
Are there any other nominations?
Make a motion, nominate close.
All right, we close the nomination.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. She'll be on there for approval next time. Okay. All right. Well, the next item on discussion is the Board of Health appointment, and Amber Brown will present.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So there is a vacancy on the Board of Health. Applications have been received received from two individuals. That's Richard Copenhaver and Chad Jarvis. Both of the applications are attached to the agenda, and Mr. Copenhaver provided a resume as well for review. We just need to open the floor for any further nominations.
Okay, are there any other nominations besides these two? Do we have to pick one of these two?
At the next meeting, we'll have to do that when you pull the board, but you can nominate both of these individuals tonight.
Okay. We will not, go ahead, Commissioner Nicholson.
I was gonna say, I'd like to nominate, close nominations.
We nominate them first.
Can you make a motion to nominate the two applicants first?
Yeah,
And then we'll close the nomination?
You just need a nomination form and then somebody to close.
Are you going to nominate, make the nomination, Commissioner Nicholson?
oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I think, nominate Copenhaver and Jarvis.
Right. Okay. Second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Now, a motion to close the nominations.
Motion to close.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
On action next time.
Action at the next meeting. Okay. So the next item is the recording of closed sessions, and Commissioner Morris.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I brought this up during my recent campaign that I thought it would be a good idea for us to start doing a video recording of, both video and audio recording of our closed sessions. Of course, they would remain in closed sessions unless approved for release at a later date under the statutory requirements to do that. The main reason for doing it is just to have a accurate record of, very specific and accurate record of what was discussed in closed session. We just had an issue during our previous Board of Trustees meeting where there was a difference of opinion on that. So this would give us a good record that when you do summary minutes like we're doing now, it's just very difficult to capture the information that really needs to be on the record. So that's my reason for asking this, and I think other folks supported it during the campaign, if I remember right. But that's my request for us to consider that.
I have a question. Ty, do you know of any other public bodies that record their closed session minutes or executive sessions?
I'm not aware of any, but I haven't checked any other counties to see whether or not they do.
Well, I would, first of all, would advise that we check around just to see if, because from what I can find, it's not required by North Carolina at all as a state statute, and it's not standard practice for other governing bodies. But if you would like to give us some more information on that, if there's, I think there are a few states that do allow for that and maybe even require it, but I think I could only find a couple of states that actually require it.
There's certainly no requirement.
So,
I think it's just the best way to have what you know is 100% accurate record, just like we do when we record these meetings. There wouldn't be any disputes about what was done or not done, what was said or not said, when we could refer back to that.
I don't really have a problem with it whatsoever. But I think anything released in the closed session, needs to be to the attorney first before we release it. But as far as recorded, I don't really have a problem with it, because we really shouldn't be trying to hide anything. By no means. Anything can be wrote down on a piece of paper and changed, but a live meeting, it can't be changed. So, there again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, and I don't see an issue with it.
I think an audio recording would probably suffice. I think that's what the school board does, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know of anybody that video records closed session or executive session. Commissioner Mendenhall, do you have any comments on that?
I'm gonna have to be real honest and just say, I don't at this time, Chairman Cox, I don't have any comments at this point.
Okay, Commissioner Nicholson, do you have any comments?
I'm just gonna say it's legal, I'm all for this, I think it would clarify a lot of things going around, and you would get so many, I don't recall, or I can't remember, doing the meeting, and just had a lot of facts, so I'm actually all for all this. It's all political.
Okay. How do you think you could bring us some more information at the next meeting and keep this on discussion maybe for one more meeting? And it would just be interesting, I think, to help decide. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the school board does record closed session, but audio records it, and then find out like how long those records have to be kept and how they have to be destroyed in the if it's kept, like some of the what I found in other states, they would require them to be kept for 5 years and then destroyed and that kind of thing. So I don't know. Just find out if you can what the standard practice, if there is one, would be on that. Okay, so we'll have that back. Keep that on here for more information. And the next item is the video use statement. And let me clarify something. I did not come up with that statement that was read. That was not at all me. I didn't say that. I don't know. I think that the attorney may have provided that statement to the county manager. The only question I asked was, is there a way to protect the content of the videos that are recorded at our meeting so that they cannot be spliced into 2 meetings to look like one meeting and things like that? That has been done during the last election. So it was not to try to keep the public from being able to view them or see them. And I think it's like Larry Barger said, it is a public record. And we do need to preserve it, and we need to preserve the integrity of the public record. So my question was, how do we best go about doing that so that if it is shared, it is an accurate reflection and the accurate video that was actually recorded at that meeting and not 2 meetings put together to look like one meeting. So that was my question. And that's why I wanted to discuss it. Also, I don't know how many of you are aware of the existence of deep fake technology. It's becoming more and more common. Legislation has not really kept up with that, and it's getting harder and harder to spot where people use artificial intelligence to create synthetic media. So that being said, that is a concern, because after what we witnessed in the last election cycle with the splicing of our meetings to be put together to look like one meeting, you know, that makes me wonder what's next. Will it be some type of deep fake video type thing? And like I said, legislation has not kept up with that because it's just becoming more and more commonplace though. So my question is there a way to protect the integrity of those videos so they're not misrepresentative somehow? So, and I don't know if you've had time to do much more checking on that. The reason we even kept it on the agenda was because we were waiting for the School of Government to give us an opinion about what they thought. And Amber, I think, may have that email from them.
Let me share a little bit of it.
If you'd like. I mean, I think it's
Pretty straightforward. I mean, it is a public record, but technically she said that we could post some type of disclaimer saying the individuals couldn't splice the video, but there's probably no way to enforce that.
So That's the opinion in the School of Government. So that's why I said that's why we kept it on here, was to try to get an answer from them. And Ty, you're welcome to speak to it if you have any.
I also requested an opinion from school government, and it was the same opinion. There's really nothing you could do. I mean, it's public property. Once it's in the public domain, you have no control over what you've done.
Gotcha. Do board members have any questions about this?
I mean, I think it's trying to solve a problem we don't have personally, and I wouldn't support it.
Well, I'm not asking for support or not to support it. I'm not asking to even do it. I'm just asking to discuss, is there a way to protect the videos from some type of splicing together to appear to be one video when you take several meetings together. So that's why it was on here in the first place. Commissioner Mendenhall, do you have a comment?
Not at this point. I'll have to be honest with you, Chair Cox. I'd like to do a little more research on it, please.
Okay.
And I also would like to hear what Ty, if he has any additional information also. So I really don't have any comments for tonight.
Okay. Commissioner Nicholson, do you have any comments?
I'm going to concur with Commissioner Mendenhall to see what else if he found this. I also would think that word where it just slides a little bit here and there to make it fit their agenda. And not get the full story, but when you're looking at it, to the full story, not what they try to report to you. So, seen a lot of this myself in the last election. They like come back and explain what we got. So, you know, if you close the meeting, the one thing I have one shirt on, then it flip right over to another shirt. I did not change shirts during the meeting, I can assure you that. So, I mean, trying to lie to people on what's really going on, yeah, I see that problem. Unfortunately, it's part of our presenting. I do want to find out more information about this.
Okay.
I will add one comment. The only situation in which you might be able to do something about someone altering a video, using it in such a way that amounted to defamation of a commissioner or the board itself, in that situation, it might be actionable. It might be something you can do. The bar is pretty high because you're elected officials, and the public is free to criticize you about any way they want to.
Right.
So,
Well, it's not about criticism. It's just about misrepresentation of what the
I
video.
think that would best be handled on a case-by-case basis if something like that happens.
Well, if you would just do us a favor and just sort of keep up with if there's any changes in legislation or anything moving forward that addresses this topic, just let us know. All right.
One thing I would just add, that the artificial intelligence is a whole different ballgame than kind of dealing with the current technology. I think they're a little bit apples and oranges. There may think you'll be able to do things with artificial intelligence that are way beyond the scope of what we're even thinking about, I think.
But it's becoming more commonplace that just the average person has that capability.
Yeah, they're working on it. Google's working on it every day.
For sure. All right, that concludes that. And item E is the agreement between Wake Forest Baptist Health and for the medical director position.
So, we'll put this online too, so everybody can see the actual agreement. But before the meeting, we got some information from the health department, and County Attorney Browder has signed off on the agreement as far as legalities. But the Stokes County Health Department has the opportunity to partner with a new medical director through Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center. This new director is Dr. Lisa Cassidy View. They're willing to work with our local health department by seeing Medicare patients when necessary, as well as being available 24/7 by phone. to provide medical supervision to our clinic staff. As you know, in several years past, the health department has not been able to provide for and bill Medicare in years due to coverage issues. Our current medical director didn't have that as far as in his licensure, so we couldn't bill the Medicare patients. This would allow access to care for patients who have not been able to be seen by the health department in the past. And this is a huge gap in service for us because of our aging populations. This would be a really big benefit to our community to be able to provide Medicare service again. Dr. Cassidy View also has a Suboxone certification, which would allow the health department to function as that type of clinic if there's ever a need for that. And at this time, Dr. Cassidy View has also been working with the health department for 7 years in our obstetrics program contracted through Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center. Our current director, Dr. Newsom, his contract is currently $14,400 per year. The contract for Dr. Cassidy View to do the medical director contract plus the additional services that we've listed in this document would be a total of $52,800. The health department already budgeted $38,400 in the current budget, but once they decided they'd like to also have her come on as our medical director as well to simplify the process, that adds $14,400 for a total of $52,800. I think it's a positive direction as we really need to start seeing the Medicare patients again. They turn away a lot of our population for not being able to build that program there. So I want you to have time to review this before the next meeting, and if we can do that and discuss it and possibly approve it the next meeting, if you're in favor of that. And we could even discuss it at a budget session if we need to, as far as, because it does involve a budgetary item of increasing that medical director contract. If we don't choose to do this, we'd want to stay with our current contract of the $14,400 a year with Dr. Newsom.
Okay. So since we're just getting this, and we will keep it on the agenda for next time, you may want to have more time to look over it for questions.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. If we can, if you don't have any objection to moving it to action for next meeting, then if we have some other further discussion, we can. And we can also, like I say, bring it up in any budget session we have coming up as well.
Okay. All right. Are board members okay with that?
I'm good with it.
All right. And we'll have that on next agenda. And just bring your questions, and we could also talk about it, like she said, at the budget session that we have scheduled later in the week. All right, that takes us to the action agenda, and item A is transportation for fiscal year 22-23.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And item B is the senior meals program for fiscal year 22-23.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The Lawsonville fireworks approval request.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The North Carolina Forestry Service building lease.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Takes care of business. If there's nothing further, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. Lord of mercy.